Hi everyone, in today's episode I will explain why this time next year a major shift will take place that will transform society and the global economy. I was going to include Bitcoin's picture in this video, but it was getting too long, so I've decided that will be my next video. What I'm going to say today may sound strange, especially if you're not familiar with astrology, but I'm sure that my assumptions are accurate. Actually, what I'm going to do is give you the clues to paint the picture of what's coming, and then later on I'll tell you my thoughts. I believe that many amazing things will take place. To better understand what I'm going to say, I would like to explain a few things about the planet Pluto, which is the main actor in this today. It's difficult to cover Pluto in astrology in a few minutes, but in brief, Pluto is the last planet of our solar system. You can see it on the picture. It takes 248 years to make the circle of the zodiac. It stays in one sign for about 15 to 20 years and sometimes even longer. Pluto is the planet of endings and new beginnings, the planet of transformation. Out with the old and in with the new. That's the only thing you have to remember. It's a powerful planet and it rules the sign of Scorpio in modern astrology. As the god of the underworld, Pluto represents everything that is hidden, our deep psychological drives, our fears, atomic power, crime, and many more. One thing we cannot do is to resist Pluto changes. For example, in your personal chart, if Pluto shows an upcoming major change in your life, there is nothing you can do about it. It's not like other planets that you may have a choice. Actually, the more you resist, the more difficult it gets. Pluto will not stop until it finishes the transformation. During these changes, there is often some drama involved, usually around the issues of letting go. But there is one thing you need to remember, that we don't realize the positive results of Pluto transit immediately. Later we do. Aquarius now symbolizes the gods bringing nourishment to Earth. In astrology, to understand what's coming, we need to understand what happened before. The last time Pluto was in Aquarius was in 1778 for about 20 years. At that time, there was the American Revolution and the French Revolution. United States won its independence that time. That was a period of industrial revolution. They experiment with steam engines, and afterwards in the UK they built the railway. When Pluto was in Scorpio from 1983 to 95, you remember some events of that period, such as the AIDS epidemic, Scorpio and sex, of course. Also that period, the United States owed more money to foreigners than it was owed, which led to the tax reform years with the Reagan administration, with Pluto in this case showing the transformation of taxes. From 1995, Pluto was in Sagittarius, an optimistic and expansive sign. Productivity, growth, and consumption were the characteristics of that period. Investments in new technologies such as mobiles and the internet was the new trend. It was a time of prosperity, expansion, and fun. I remember how easy it was back then to get a loan. Banks were sending credit cards in the mail like Christmas gifts. But because of the overconsumption, by the end of 2000, the debt exploded along with the stock market bubble in many markets around the world. At that time, Pluto was pointing the finger to financial institutions, banks, and the economy. Things changed when Pluto moved into Capricorn in 2008. Pluto says, let's have a reality check now on financial institutions, banks, and the economy in general. And you remember what happened in 2008. A major economic crisis started in the United States and then to a lot of other countries. The previous sign that Pluto was until 2008 was Sagittarius, which actually it's a wonderful sign like all signs, but the issue is overextension, over-optimism, greed. Enough is not enough for Sagittarius sometimes. Now, Capricorn is a very different sign from Sagittarius. Capricorn is structure, is reality, responsibility. It represents authorities, rules, governments. So, around this time next year, Pluto will enter Aquarius until the 11th of June. Then will retrograde back to Capricorn, and on January 21st, 2024, Pluto will enter Aquarius for good. And what an entrance! The same day Sun enters Aquarius. A Sun-Uranus conjunction. That's very interesting. It's like divine timing. I think we will be nicely surprised. The next couple of years, it's not only Pluto that will change signs, but also next March, Saturn will enter Pisces, Jupiter in May will go into Taurus, and July next year, the North Node will go to Aquarius and the South Node in Libra. Uranus and Neptune will change signs also. Uranus going into Gemini and Neptune into Aries in 2025. I'm not going to cover the meaning of all planets now, but with Jupiter in Taurus, joy and pleasure will return to our lives with many opportunities for growth and prosperity. But only if we have realistic goals, be generous, and charitable to each other. Now, what do you think about all this? I think that society will be more responsible, progressive, and we finally eliminate discrimination, injustice, and take seriously the climate change. I'm not sure if there are going to be any revolutions, but I'm sure it will be the end of abusing and authoritarian governments, politicians, and power structures. Pluto is still in Capricorn, so things will not be easy this year or next year for a few months. I mentioned in my video for Ukraine and Russia the last 2 weeks of March and especially the first week of April will be very challenging. But I also believe the first week of August and November, December next year will be quite challenging. The nodes also square Pluto around that time, so that shows a resistance to change. With the nodes still in Taurus and Scorpio, the issues will be around the economy. I also believe that next November, a big leader will step down. There is a major change there, and I don't want to mention any names, but we will see until then. But despite the difficulties, the news are good. I believe we will transform the world into a better place. There will be more social equality for all. And finally, we will feel more free and liberated. The global economy will transform into a more fair and equal system. Needless to say that with Aquarius, economy will become digital and decentralized. I can't even describe the new acceleration in breakthroughs and new inventions that are going to see in science, the robotics and artificial intelligence, and many, many more, including the metaverse, of course. as always, there is the difficult part of the whole story, a difficult part of Aquarius. I believe we will become more individualistic and obsessed with technology. We may see groups with fanatical beliefs, alpha groups that they believe that they are superior than others. But also in the new inventions in technology and science could be used in dangerous ways from governments or big operations. Well, I've heard lately about soldiers with artificial intelligence and so on. Also, the crime in the internet will increase, but also the control from governments and big corporations. This change won't be very easy and will be a lot of resistance. I don't know if that's from the government. And we might see, uprising and rebellion against the oppression and control of previous years. I believe dysfunctional structures and systems will resolve. I could go on, but I hope you get the idea. Anyway, I appreciate your feedback. Like and share if you enjoy the video. Thank you very much and take care.
Des gens qui le font pas de manière